if you have been granted permission to stay in the United Kingdom, you already have a UK visa, right? Sometimes this visa, even most times, guys, this visa comes with condition, and one of those conditions will be that no recourse to public funds. So if you have a UK visa or you have a BRP, and then in your BRP you see that they wrote no recourse to public funds, what this means is that you have no reason to be claiming public benefits, right? You have no recourse to public funds. It means you can't claim most benefits, you can't claim tax credits, you can't even claim housing benefits that are paid by the state. Okay, but however, there are some benefits in which immigrants are entitled to, and a lot of people don't know about this benefit because they are scared to take public funds, and these benefits are not categorized as public funds, and it's totally okay for immigrants to claim these benefits in the United Kingdom. So guys, on today's episode of Yettysplash, I'm going to be sharing with you public funds that immigrants are entitled to and that they can take and are not categorized as public funds in the United Kingdom. In fact, these benefits that I'm about to share with you are on the government website. It's not like we're doing anything dodgy, it's just something that we're entitled to and a lot of people don't know about. So if this interests you, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, share, and don't go anywhere. So guys, the first on my list is statutory maternity pay. So if you're going to have a baby in the United Kingdom, you're entitled to a statutory maternity leave, and ultimately you're entitled to be paid statutory maternity pay for 39 weeks, for up to 39 weeks. Like guys, you will just be at home, resting and preparing to have your child while you're on maternity break, and then you still get paid. But a lot of people don't know this. People will tell you that, oh, I don't want to claim benefits, I don't want to claim public funds. Well, statutory maternity pay is not a public fund and you're entitled to it. And another thing is that if you do not get your statutory maternity pay from your employer, then you're still eligible for maternity allowance by the government. So the government will definitely pay you something, whether or not your employer pays you, because you have to check the criteria. You have to check, there's a particular period in which you must have worked for before you're eligible for the maternity pay. So if you don't get that, you definitely get, once your company assesses you and they say that you're not entitled to a maternity pay, you definitely get maternity allowance from the government directly. So regardless if you're giving birth in the United Kingdom, you're covered, and this does not qualify or measure as a public fund. So it is totally safe for you to claim your maternity allowance or your maternity pay, whichever you qualify for at that period. Then another benefit in which a lot of people don't know exist, or do know that exist but is not public funds, is that when you're pregnant, you have free prescription from the NHS. You're not supposed to pay. You will know that your NHS services are like kind of free, but you pay for prescription. If you're on a visa, you have to pay for prescription. So if you've been going to the NHS and then you've not been paying for prescription, you're wrong. It is wrong. You're supposed to pay for your prescription. But once you're pregnant, it becomes like a sort of benefit. You don't have to pay for prescription, which is also very good. And then for any NHS services or dental care service that you get while you're pregnant, you don't have to pay. This is not, or this does not qualify as public funds, so it is totally safe to access. Another benefit is the statutory sick pay. So guys, if you're ill and you're unable to work, you can get up to £109.40 from your employer if you're sick and unable to work for up to 28 weeks. So if you're sick, don't want to kill yourself and say you have to go to work by 5 by 4, this and that. If you're ill and you can't get into work, just file all the processes, let your probably NHS give you your sick letter and everything, but just know that you're entitled to a sick pay of £109.40 per week for up to 28 weeks. And this is also not public benefit. It is your right, even if you're an immigrant in the United Kingdom. Another benefit in which people are entitled to, but it is not a public benefit, is the new style job seeker allowance. But you need to listen carefully to this. You see, the new style job seeker allowance allows you to claim some sort of benefit from the government if you are unemployed or you're working less than 16 hours a week. But it is a contribution based benefit, meaning they will have to take into consideration how much you have contributed towards your NI to check if you're eligible. And by standard, you should have at least worked for 2 years, because NI, of course, is the national insurance that will pay when we work. So you must have at least contributed towards your NI for full 2 tax years, meaning you should have at least paid NI for 2 years before you're eligible for this new style job seeker allowance. And if they find out that you're eligible, you can get paid, is a fortnightly pay that they'll be paying you while you're not working, and they can pay you for up to 182 days. But most importantly is that you have to check if you're eligible and you must have contributed towards your NI. So it's based on your contribution towards your NI that will determine how much you're paid and even if you're eligible at all. So this new style job seeker allowance is there. I hope none of us becomes unemployed suddenly, but it's a kind of benefit that immigrants are also entitled to and does not qualify as public funds. So it is totally safe if you're not working or you're working less than 14 hours a week. We all know that 14 hours a week is nothing. You can't really earn much. So you're entitled to this new style job seeker allowance. Another allowance in which immigrants are eligible to apply for and does not qualify as public benefit is the new style employment and support allowance. So this allowance is also a fortnightly allowance, and it is a contributory kind of allowance, meaning that you must have contributed towards your NI for at least 2 years before the year you're applying for this benefit. And you're eligible for this benefit if you're either ill, you're sick, you have a disease, and you can't currently work, you're unable to work at that period of time. So you're eligible for this benefit or this allowance, and this allowance does not qualify as public funds. Another kind of benefit in which people are entitled to and does not qualify or classify as public funds is the lifetime ISA, individual saving account. So you can save up to £4,000 per year in your bank accounts as a lifetime ISA, and the government will then give you 25% every year on your savings, and you can use this towards buying a house or just use it for in the future for future savings, right? You can use it towards buying your first home. So this is also a means of getting money from the government, but it is not public funds. Another kind of benefit is the paid annual leave. Like, guys, statutorily you are entitled to a statutory annual leave pay where you're working. So you don't have to work around the clock all year. Out of the 12 calendar months, depending on your company, some will tell you 20 days including bank holidays, some say 25 annual leave. But whatever the case is, you're entitled to paid annual leave, and this does not classify as public funds. Another kind of benefit is state-funded education for children. So by law, all students in England, I know of England, I can't really talk about Scotland, Wales, so I won't generalize as to the UK, but I know that all students in England, I want to believe similar thing is applicable in other parts of the United Kingdom, and that's what we're talking about: Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. Well, I'm sure that all students in England between the age of 5 and 16 are entitled to free state-funded school. So they are supposed to be in school, like you have to put them in school. So this is not public funds, they are entitled to it. And also there are also some rules when it comes to like free meals as well, so you also have to double check. I know when it gets to a certain age they can get free meals, when it gets to a certain age they are not eligible for free meals. But from 5 to 16, free state-funded school, they are eligible to attend, and that does not classify as public funds. So infants are eligible to free school meals in England, but I think once it gets to year 3 then they start paying for their meals. So you have to be sure, you have to check in with your school, because there's always like a thin line between breaching the law and then breaching the provisions of the law and then doing the right thing. So you want to be sure that you're staying compliant, you're not enjoying any benefits that you're not eligible to. Also, guys, you need to understand that NHS services are not classified as public funds, so you can access medical care, but just know that there are instances where you have to pay for drugs, pay for prescription, but that does not, you can go to a doctor, you can use the accidents and emergency services, you can access basic care. You might just have to pay for your prescription, pay for your drugs, but NHS services are usually free, so they do not classify as public funds or public benefits. Guys, pension scheme does not qualify as public funds, all right? So you're entitled to pension scheme, you're even entitled to state pension scheme. You just have to check the criteria, but if you're eligible, you're entitled to it, and it does not qualify as public funds. Also, council tax exemption for students does not qualify as public funds. Listen, I repeat, council tax exemption for students does not qualify as public fund. So if you're not a student and you're in the UK, then you have to pay council tax, because if you're not paying council tax, then you're breaching like the law. You have to pay. I remember when I was still a student of the University of East London, when I was living for free with my family members, but regardless, I was still, those that my colleagues that were, you know, renting house and they were on their own, they were not paying council tax, right? As a student, you are not supposed to pay council tax. You're exempted from paying, not like you're not supposed to, you're just exempted by the state government from paying council tax. Now that I'm not even a student and I live, you know, with my husband alone and not like with family members and we pay council tax, or more, I wish I was paying as a student. I wish I was still a student, because it can be crazy when you're just paying every month. But if you're a student in the United Kingdom, then you're exempted from paying council tax, and that does not mean that you're taking public funds or you're having recourse to public funds. You're not benefiting from public funds. Another kind of benefit is the bereavement support payment. All right, this kind of benefit is for those who lose their partners, but however, there are some conditions you have to meet as well. Like, for you to be able to, you know, claim these benefits, you must have reached like the state pension age. I think you can't claim this benefit if you're in prison. So it's basically for old people that lose their partner and then for some reason they can't be on their own, they can't survive on their own, and they need, you know, the money. So if you're in the United Kingdom, even if you're on a visa and this happened to you, but then again, you must have contributed towards your NI, your partner must have contributed towards, you know, NI payment. Like, you guys have been paying tax, work tax and all of that before you're kind of like eligible. But then it's another benefit that people who are eligible can apply for and does not qualify as public funds. Another kind of benefit is the industrial injuries disablement benefit. So if you've been crippled or disabled, or you're ill as a result of work, you sustained an injury from work, then you're entitled to this benefit as well. And what you're entitled to will be, you know, is dealt with on a case by case, you know, basis. But then this does not qualify as public funds. Okay, I pray we don't get disabled while working, but anyone in that category can apply for funds from the government to support themselves, and they haven't breached their visa condition of, you know, accessing no recourse to public funds. Another kind of benefit to which people are eligible to, and it's not public funds, is the statutory parental payments, right? This covers a wide range of, you know, kind of payments. It covers statutory maternity payments, statutory paternity payments, statutory adoption payment, statutory shared parental payment, and even statutory parental bereavement plan. So it has to do with like a parental kind of like, you know, benefits which people are eligible to and does not classify as public funds. Immigrants are entitled to all these benefits as long as they are eligible, and they do not classify as public funds. Okay, ensure that you don't take public funds. Okay, before you benefit on anything, ensure you find out, you do your research to be sure that it's not public funds, because anything that is classified as public funds, you cannot take it. But the benefits that I've mentioned in this video, I'm going to leave the link to gov.uk for you to see it on the website yourself. There are actually benefits that people can, you know, apply for, allowances people can get and do not qualify as public funds. And it doesn't matter whatever your, you know, visa category is in the United Kingdom, you're eligible. It's like a statutory right. By law, you're eligible to have this allowance, to get this payment and things like that. So hey my lovelies, I still remain your one and only girl Yeti. Don't forget to please like, subscribe fam, so that I keep giving you more glorious and amazing content like this. I remain your baby girl Yeti. Stay blessed. See you next time. Bye. Subscribe.